Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever felt like you're just constantly shouting into the digital void? Or maybe you're relying on a word of mouth network that feels, incredibly fragile? Well, today we are breaking down the absolute core of digital reputation for independent creatives. We're going to look at exactly how you can build a lasting presence without getting bogged down by all those tedious SEO mechanics.
Let's kick things off with a schoolyard analogy that honestly blew my mind. Imagine two kids. First up, we've got the trading card kid. He mechanically collects cards, constantly getting everyone to look at his collection. The more pointing, the more popular he seems, right? Then there's the artist kid. She doesn't have a specific collection to point to, but her name is just naturally mentioned everywhere. In the yearbook, the trophy case by the teachers. You literally don't even need to look her up. Everyone just knows her name. The difference between these two is absolutely vital. The trading card kid relies entirely on mechanical trust. It's kind of like a house of cards. If he loses that collection, his reputation vanishes overnight. Poof. But the artist kid's reputation? It's like a deep root system. It is organic, it's resilient, and it survives because it lives in many independent places at once. She just showed up consistently. Okay, moving into section 1, domain versus entity authority, translating the schoolyard to digital search systems. So let's translate those kids into the actual digital systems that control your creative practice. The trading card kid, that represents domain authority. It's basically the digital equivalent of earning trust mechanically through links pointing straight to your website. Blogs, directories, backlinks, it's a super simple equation. Links in, trust up. But, and this is a big but, here is the vulnerability. It lives entirely on your own digital real estate. If your site breaks or an algorithm suddenly shifts, your authority completely crashes with it. On the flip side, the artist kid is your entity authority. This is fascinating stuff. It's your professional reputation translated into pattern matching. AI systems and search engines actually start recognizing you as a trusted, known entity because your name is consistently associated with specific attributes across independent podcasts, magazines, and directories. Your reputation exists out there in the ecosystem, completely independent of your own website. Which brings us to section 2, the missing gap. Why relying on just one leaves you vulnerable. Most creatives naturally gravitate toward building just one of these based on how their brain works. But leaning on only one creates a fatal gap in your business. Just think about this loop for a second. Entity authority works before the search. Domain authority works during it. Entity gets your name into the conversation. Maybe an AI cites you or an event planner drops your name. Domain authority is what steps in to confirm that reputation when a client actually searches for you and lands on a strong, reliable website. Let's look at what actually happens when you only have one. If you only have domain authority, you've essentially built a gorgeous studio on a dead-end street. Your site is technically strong, sure, but AI ignores you. You're just waiting around for people who already know exactly what to type. But what if you only have entity authority? Well, your reputation is great, but your website is kind of like a digital hoarding situation. When people hear your name and try to verify you, they hit a messy dead end, and you quietly lose clients who are right there on the fence. All right. Section 3, the roadmap. Diagnosing where you should start your work. So, the absolutely crucial point here is figuring out exactly where you need to start, which depends entirely on where you currently are. We need to diagnose your specific situation right now. Are you building from scratch, or are you established but completely outdated? If you are starting from scratch, like a brand new sprout, you need to build entity authority first. Domain authority takes time, but entity authority can actually be established much faster by repeating your positioning clearly everywhere you go. But if you are established but outdated, meaning you're the respected marble statue but your digital wiring is broken, you must start by fixing your domain authority. Your real-world reputation already exists. You just need to fix your digital infrastructure so people actually find you when they look. Moving right along to section 4, the high return activity matrix. How to move both needles simultaneously. Here is the magic that allows you to stop treating these as two totally exhausting work streams. The secret is focusing your time on asymmetric activities, things that give you two returns on one single investment of time. Notice how publishing specific case studies or securing specific podcast bios moves both needles simultaneously. Generic link building only helps your domain, and standard networking only helps your entity. You want to live entirely in that moves both category. Let's look at a really high return example. Writing a hyper-specific case study, like say a Met Monday page on your site, is incredibly powerful. Because it names the specific event, the designer, and the location, it naturally ranks for search queries, boosting your domain. But it also permanently links your digital entity to high-level fashion. Or think about joining structured external directories, like the Headshot Crew. You get a high-authority backlink and a permanent AI association with industry leaders. Two birds, one stone. Now, because there's no single magical score for this whole thing, you have to learn to read the signals together. Yes, definitely track your domain growth using tools like Ahrefs or Bing, but you've got to combine that with my absolute favorite trick, the monthly AI citation test. Once a month, open ChatGPT or Gemini and ask it to recommend a creative in your highly specific niche. If it accurately describes you, boom, your entity signals are working. Combine that with checking your branded search volume in an incognito browser to make sure the results are consistent. And finally, Section 5, the 5-year divergence, the compounding stakes of your digital habits. Let's look at the timeline here, because having patience with this is a strategic requirement, not just a nice-to-have soft skill. The compounding effect of doing this consistently is literally unbelievable. Year 1, it's going to be modest, a few links, maybe some vague AI results. But by year 3, your infrastructure and your reputation start visibly reinforcing each other. And by year 5, your name becomes the reliable, undisputed answer across multiple independent sources. You've essentially built a self-sustaining referral network that practically insulates you from algorithm crashes. Conversely, the creative who ignores this might look totally fine in year 1. But by year 5, the divergence is severe. They are left incredibly vulnerable, like an anvil hanging by a single thread, relying on a shrinking, manual referral network with absolutely zero digital infrastructure to catch them when things drop. Catching up at that point requires cramming 5 years of compounding work into just 2 years, usually under immense financial pressure. Which brings us to the ultimate choice you make with every single project you publish from today forward. Every piece of work is an opportunity to move both needles. So I'll leave you with this question. 5 years from now, will you be wondering why the market feels so much harder, or will you have built an ecosystem that simply does the work for you? Because the market won't have changed in 5 years, but the ecosystem around you absolutely will have. Thanks for joining this explainer. Now get out there and build that ecosystem.